make a dramatic entrance because kale's not very dramatic. Yeah, so I want to do a vlog just on kale. I discovered kale 6 years ago, which means I lived for 20 years without it. 20. Can you imagine a person living without kale? I couldn't when I discovered it. It's like, God, where have I been? Kale's great. My sister Nicole introduced me to kale. She's gluten intolerant, soy intolerant, lactose intolerant, everything intolerant. So all she can eat is meat and kale, basically. So she introduced me to it, and it's like divine. It's like a magical being. Yeah, like unicorns. Kale, unicorns, rainbows. They're all the same. Anyways, so my friend Jackie was making kale chips in her dehydrator, which I thought was great. And she was laughing. She's like, la la la, I hate kale normally. She doesn't actually say stuff like that. La la la. Maybe she does. I don't know. Sorry, Jackie. But she made kale chips in her dehydrator. She was like, this is pretty much the only way I can eat kale because it's gross otherwise. Which I can concur. When I first started eating kale, it was really, like, not good. Not a good flavor when you're not used to it. Especially store-bought kale. I know it's organic and pet 3 times a day before it's brought to the store, but it's gross. It like loses its flavor. Whereas if you go out to a garden or a farm and you pick some and eat it right there on the spot, I will guarantee you, Jackie and other non-kale believers, that it's actually really good. It's sweet and green. I always joke when I have some green kale with Talon after the farmer's market. I always say, it tastes like green. And then if you have purple kale, it tastes like purple. I don't know. Have you experienced that? Green kale tastes green, purple kale tastes purple. Anyways, so I was gonna make some kale chips today. Very easy. So what I do after the farmer's market, when I come home with my oodles and oodles and caboodles of kale, caboodles is a cool word. Check that one out. Caboodle, I think I made it up. Maybe I made it up. Maybe it's not a word. Maybe I'll make it a word. So when I come home with all my kale, I don't sit down on the couch because then I'll never get to it. So what I do is I fill up my sinks and I rinse off the kale really well, wash it, whatever, however you like to do it. And then actually one of the doctors at my work was getting rid of his salad spinner. Time out, I don't know if you've tried to buy a salad spinner, but they're like $18,000 for a nice salad spinners. I got one for free and it's super nice. I saw it at Market of Choice for like $30 or some ungodly amount of money, which is not that much in the scheme of salad spinners, so I just defeated my purpose. Anyways, so what I do, I wash the kale really thoroughly, and then I rip it up and toss it in my salad spinner, then I spin it, and then I just store it in my fridge. Now this week I went all kale crazy, and I got 2 big heads of kale, and they were huge. I got them at the farmer's market, and I don't know, maybe the farmer was, I don't know, feeling generous that day, but the bunches, like I couldn't fit my hand around that bunch of kale, which is also really great if you go to farmers markets because you get way more than if you go to the store. Like I bought some store-bought kale, which was A, gross, and B, like 5 sprigs of 5 leaves. What am I gonna do with 5 leaves? Absolutely nothing, besides eat them on the car ride home. So my pot over here is full of freshly washed kale. And actually that's a lie, it's not fresh. This was from Saturday and it's Thursday. And Talon and I have eaten kale every day this week. And as you can see, this is a ginormous pot and it's still, you can't even tell that we've eaten kale. So super easy for kale chips. All you want to do is you want to take some kale, put it in a bowl. I should have gotten the bowl out first. So I'm going to put it into a bowl, and I'm just going to sprinkle some olive oil and some salt and pepper on it, and shove it in the oven until they're crispy. I don't know. I have my oven on 250 right now, and if you turn it up any higher, it burns the kale, and then you have little flakes of charred kale, which is gross, and you'll be like, ew, these chips are gross. What was Leah talking about? I'm right. If you do it right in your oven and you don't burn the chips, so good. So I'm just going to take some kale. I have purple and green here. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to put some olive oil. Doesn't need very much. Salt and pepper. I was talking with one of my coworkers and she did salt and vinegar kale chips. Oh my god, mind blown. But Talon hates salt and vinegar chips, so I'm being nice. It's his birthday tomorrow. 26 years old. Yeah, so I'm being nice and making him just some plain old boring salt and pepper kale chips. So that's about it. And then I stick my hand in there, mix her all up. And then sometimes I'll put extra oil on the pan just because you don't want to be like, whoops, I didn't put enough oil on the kale. And then it's stuck to your pan. Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to. I'm going to try it. I'm going to be a rebel. Bloop, 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 bloop. You cannot say that this is like too hard or too much money or I fell on the floor. Just jump up. Or whatever, because it's not. And I don't know if you've tried to buy kale chips. They're like $1 million. Like $7.99 for organic kale chips. Don't do it. I command you. Don't buy kale chips, okay? So, here we go. Look. Oh no! I did that on purpose so I could eat it. So there's kale. Pan full kale. And it's not, you know, there's some kale piled on top of one another, but whatever. I'm setting it in the oven. And I'm going to set the timer for, oh no, I'll check it in 20 minutes, see how they're doing. Poke them, see if they're crispy. Yep. That's kale chips. And they're delicious, and you eat kale. Probably not as nutritious as fresh, but as you can see, I ate some fresh kale because it fell on the floor. So that's a good way to warm yourself up to kale. Another super easy recipe my mom and sister do for breakfast, and I like to do for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because it's easy. We have chickens, so therefore we have eggs. You put some kale in a pan. My hand is all greasy. Yeah, back to the kale chip thing. Don't buy kale chips. If I hear that you buy kale chips, I will come to your house and be like, dude, why did you buy kale chips? Really? Really? You spent all that money on kale chips? You know, all my friends out there who buy kale chips. Don't do it. Okay. Apparently I like ate a crack cookie or something. I'm all, ah! Okay, so the next recipe with kale is put some oil in pan. Turn it on to like medium, okay? Take some kale. Hope Talon comes home soon from work because dinner's ready. That sucks. So see, it's nice and full. That's a full pan of kale. And it cooks down really small, kind of. Not as small as like spinach or something like that, but it still does cook down. But that'll be enough for Talon and I. That'll probably actually be a little too much. But actually, I take that back. You can never have too much kale, people. So put some salt on there, put some oil, and then I'm gonna chop up some onions. I'm gonna let this saute. I usually like to add a little bit of water. But yeah, I let it saute, and I will show you what I do once it's sauteed. Super easy. I'll tell you about it first. I put once it's sauteed down, I don't feel I need to cook the kale anymore. I crack the eggs. Put like 2 eggs each on top, and it makes like a poached egg almost. And you just cook it until the egg is ready, is done, and there you go, meal. You can shred up some cheese on there or something, and it's really good. The kale gets really sweet when you saute it. So there is another super easy thing to do, and the kale's good. Like it doesn't taste like green, and it doesn't taste like purple. When it comes out, it just tastes delicious. Talon can even attest to that. Talon was not a big vegetable fan in general. So this is a really great recipe, and he loves it, and he eats kale like a big kid. Eats it all the time. Anyway, so I hope that this is helpful, and I hope you try it, and I hope you like it. Try and get your kale at farmer's market. It's in season right now, unless you live in like, I Idaho. Somewhere where it snows. Montana, Canada, I don't know. Is it snowy in Canada, guys? Maybe though you can find it in greenhouses. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I'm just rambling. I've been cooped up in the house. I need to go out and garden, but it's raining. Anyways, buy your kale at a farmer's market. And then saute it in a pan and crack an egg on it, and bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a meal, and it's delicious. Okay, talk to you later, bye!